Still? Oh,
I found it. Can you do the introduction again real fast?
Yeah. No. Hi.
Okay, never mind. They know who we are.
They know who we are. So we're here to talk about freedom and liberty in the state of California and across the nation. So let's get to it, ladies. We wanted to first start off with this Sunday. We will be in San Diego with our friend Naomi, standing with her through the threats of arrest and fines for, protesting and practicing her First Amendment right in the United States. So that's going to be a very interesting day. I'm excited to go and see you guys there. We need people by the thousands. We need thousands. Just as we would do this for you guys, we need to stand with Naomi. We have to put a stop to what's happening in California and the overreach of government intrusion.
So we'll be there in Pacific Beach on Sunday, standing to end the lockdown and for our constitutional rights with Naomi and thousands of others.
Yes, and the address, my phone is being crazy. The address for the event on Sunday at 1 p.m. It's 4400 Oceanfront Walk in Pacific Beach. And we know that parking is going to be tricky, so please carpool or use public transportation. The event organizer, Naomi, has asked us to all wear white, and if possible, to be able to, stand appropriately apart if possible. And if possible, if you feel that you need a mask, you can wear a mask. So we just wanted to say that too.
Yeah, and and just so I can say it twice, on May 1st, Freedom Angels will be at the California Capitol at noon. We are fully aware of what the CHP and Governor Newsom has put out, that they are putting a stop to the First Amendment. Fortunately for us, they do not have that kind of power to suspend the Constitution. So, it's going to be interesting day, but we need thousands there again. This is the pushback that we have been working for years. This is the pushback that we have been talking to you guys for years about, as being in the health freedom movement to begin with. So, this is a time that we need to stand together as, as a state, as a nation. We need all hands on deck. From New Jersey to California, we're seeing protesters are being threatened with arrest and charges. And unless we put a stop to this, we are going to lose our constitutional rights, and where would we be as Americans without our Constitution?
Well, and we're saying that, our constitutional rights have been suspended unjustly, that you don't get to suspend our inborn God-given human rights that are protected by the Constitution. And yes, there are pathways for emergency orders, but there has not been a compelling state interest, perhaps even in the first few days when there was no data. It could be argued, but now the data has been rolling in, and we're months into this now. There is no compelling state interest. This is not narrowly applied, and it is far outside of any limited time scope that any emergency orders are meant to be used for. And right now, the entire nation, every country, has people hurting to the point of literally economic collapse personally, and for our states and our country. As well as the emotional and physical damages that have been caused through the collateral damages of this lockdown, of the isolation, of the fear, and of the real world problems that have ensued from this. We know that there is another way forward, that the lockdown and isolation is not the path forward now, that we need to be advancing an effective therapeutics and have access to them, that we need to have people have people with them within the process, compassionate care kind of protocol, people who may be sick and in hospitals. And basically we need to get people back to work right away. And so let's talk about, it's the local level that this is going to have to happen. One thing we agree with Newsom on for sure is localism is deterministic. And that's where we're going to have to battle this back. Plus going to the Capitol on May 1st and showing them, no, Governor Newsom, you don't get to do it this way. We're not going to do your 6-point plan. And, I don't know if you're running rogue or what, but you're not representing California for all, or the people of California.
No, it's time to rekindle that chant, isn't it? We use that a lot in the past. You have not represented California for all. And I do think that the legislators have gotten way too comfortable with us quietly tucked away on house arrest. So that's why it's very important that patriots come together and take a unified stand on May 1st at the Sacramento Capitol. We know what we are up against. We know that, the governor has said no more protests will be allowed. We don't need his permission slip. We have the Constitution, and we have a lot of resources that have come to our aid to ensure that the people are heard. So I just wanted to bring that up. One of the comments here, should we just brush on this? Let's brush on this quickly. Somebody just said in our comments, hey, you guys made Yahoo News.
Oh, you mean that spin, that article that tried to discredit all of the people who went to the Capitol? I mean, that's really what it was. It was a hit piece on us, mostly you and Heidi, Tara and Heidi, and it was to discredit what we are trying to do. And let's just put it out there. We are not doing this as part of a certain movement. We are doing this because California can no longer carry these shelter in place while families do not know how they're going to feed their children. I mean, at the end of the day, it's get back to work. It has nothing else to do with any other movement. So that's what that was. That was to discredit us and to make us look like we're crazy and, gaslighting at its finest on a national level this time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we'll take it as our badge of honor, and we're going to carry on. It's clear, anybody who reads past the headline and reads through it, you can see a clear and present agenda that is being carefully crafted. And the bottom line is that Americans are smart, and Americans do care about freedom, and they do care about liberty. And more than ever, the person says it means you're doing something right. So I'm glad that people are smart enough that they can read through this. As we've said, the American people are trustworthy. The American people know how to do this peaceably. The American people know it's innate, it's within us. And it's about staying human. That's exactly what this comes down to, is remaining human, right, Tara?
Yeah, and they won't, they can try. They will try to divide us. They will try to discredit people. But what there is there's one battle. There's one battle in the world right now. And there's essentially two sides. You can either be very afraid and be, thinking that a ventilator and a future vaccine is your only way out of this besides extreme isolation, and full cover, masks and protection and full isolation, and allowing of the contact tracing and the testing to be mandatory, and the new norm of redefining all the spaces in every business or school or public or private space, and also allowing for control structures to be in to have this tightening and narrowing effect on our lives. Or you can believe there is another way forward, which is what everyone that has been coming to the capitals and standing up and speaking out, and the different counties that have been reaching out to the governor are saying, we can do this another way. We can rebalance the risk. We've looked at the data. It's been enough months now that we have a much clearer view, and it's what we were all afraid of at the beginning has not proven out to be true. So let's find effective solutions for the therapeutics. Let's get back to work and not crash our economy and cause more collateral damage and literal pain and destruction to people individually, their lives, and the communities in our nation. Two ways forward. Mm-hmm. One issue, and that's all that it is. That's all we're fighting on, all that anyone is fighting on in this country and in this world right now.
Amen. It's so the truth. Mm-hmm. There's nothing, that's
so
it.
They can't divide us.
No, we're not going to.
And we got to stop. We got to fight, the selling of the fear that's been going on. Like we've been talking about the, the props that they're using as maps and masks by the media, and then taking them off and ignoring it when they're not on front of the camera.
So speaking of that, we hit that hard. We've hit that hard this week, talking about how the masks are props. And because of that, I'm just going to say we might have played a part into the fact that you guys, Jeremy Oliver was with us on Monday to expose all of that. and his Facebook account was wiped without warning today, without notice, gone. He had to create a brand new account. So the censorship is going to continue to ratchet up. We know that at any point, we could be taken off the air. And so that's why more than ever, you guys need to make sure that you are plugged in and dialed in on all of our platforms, which is Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, YouTube, Facebook, our email, because they did that to Jamie. And then what did they do to you, Denise, yesterday? I mean, Jeremy, sorry, to Jeremy. Denise, what did they do to you yesterday? Just like they did something to Jeremy today.
Well, again, I'm banned for 30 days again. So, you know, they went back a month. I put up pictures or an account of I don't even want to say it on here because I don't want it to get shut over.
Yeah.
But it was an account targeting children. And they went back a month and said that is inappropriate and that breaks community standards. However, that account wasn't taken down. So, you know, they're going to try to censor us. I'm very, very shocked that we're actually able to still have access to our Freedom Angels account. So that's why I think really the best place to find us would be on Telegram, because Facebook owns Instagram. And so these things are all going to merge together and we're going to be censored. So it's incredibly important to download Telegram, go to chats, look for our, oh, Heidi left. Look for our, she got kicked off. Are we still live? Yeah, we're still live. And go to Freedom Angels Foundation. This is the way that we're going to be able to do calls to action and keep you guys up to date with what's going on with links and how to find us. So please download that and we can keep in touch with everyone. So until Heidi gets back, it's you and me, Tara.
Well, let's talk about some of the amazing things. Like, we've been putting out hero awards on our Freedom Angels Facebook page for, you know, like the two ER docs from Kern County who spoke out on the real numbers and what they're seeing on the ground, on various sheriffs in other states coming forward and reaching out to the governor and saying, we want to move forward a different way. So yesterday, two moms who are hair salon owners in Auburn, California, have defied the governor's you know, stay-at-home orders and have both reopened to pay their bills. I want to read some of this. And our deepest respect and gratitude goes out to these moms and business owners for paving this way forward. I mean, they have done everything they could until this point to survive. And here's a quote from some of them, or here, a couple of them. This is from one of the salon owners. She says, I have to do what I have to do. I'm fighting to provide for my children and myself and my family right now. The other salon owner spoke to Fox 40 and said, how much longer am I supposed to go down the rabbit hole before I just throw in the towel and go back to work? Look, this is not an easy road when you're, for any of these small business owners or people to stand up and say, we are.
Tara, your mic went out. Tara, your mic went off.
Oh gosh, it muted me.
Now, I can't even hear you. I can't even hear you. Can we get a mic check for Tara, please? I don't have access to it, and then she's gone. Right?
Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now. All right.
What part did it mute out on?
It was just,
they're messing with our stuff.
Oh yeah, Heidi can't get back on. So she's going to try to find someone else's page to go live through, but she can't get on.
She should keep trying, because I couldn't get my mute just went off on its own and I couldn't get it back. And then I did a few things off and on.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you heard
the salon. Yeah, we heard this. Yeah.
The two moms with their hair salons. This is the kind of local, you know, we need to help these local businesses and local community members who are opening their doors against the governor's stay-at-home orders. Again, the local county law enforcement and the city managers and the boards of supervisors, the business the business entities, they're all going to be really important, as are the citizens on the ground supporting them and saying, hey, we support them to open up this way. There's another one too. A barbershop opened in Chico, California, which is in Butte County. Same thing. It's really interesting about Butte County, as they're one of only several counties in the state that do not have their own definition of essential and non-essential businesses for the county. I'd be curious if anyone else knows of any other counties like that, if you could drop that in our text. But the city manager said, this is very interesting, City of Chico assistant manager says, Butte County is one of the few counties in California that do not have a county-wide order that defines essential and non-essential businesses. So it's up to the city to decide what's best for the community. If a business that is deemed non-essential by the governor's orders then the city will make sure it understands and follows the proper safety precautions. Every owner needs to do what's best for them, and we will help. They'll work to help and make sure that the measures are taken that they feel they can do it safely. Now that's something, we got to work towards. No new normal, like best practices, where we're not going to allow them to have restaurants go from like 100 seats to 40. That's not okay. That'll cripple the same thing. That's part of Newsom's 6-point plan to redesign the floor plan. That's not acceptable. There are ways to do things very safe. You can clean things with isopropyl alcohol. You can use UV light to sterilize, and you can maintain regular hygienic practices while we quickly work to push for information showing where risks are and aren't, so that we can get back to normal.
I would just like to know, where is Newsom going to stop? I mean, he sees California families are in bread lines. They are in lines wrapped around the block trying to put food on the table. Now he's saying it's okay to volunteer and to work for free, but you can't go back to work. It's okay for big stores like Walmart's and Target's and all these big box stores to stay open, but it's not okay for a mom and pop place to open up and to be, to sterilize things. We have to be trusted as adults and as humans that we're going to do our due diligence, and we're going to, sanitize, and hygiene is so important. That's how we're not going to get sick. Instead, he wants to take our jobs. He wants to take our freedoms from going outside, and he wants to suspend the Constitution. So when is enough enough? We've done this, 6-7 weeks already, and there's still no end in sight. Even though the data that's coming through is showing California isn't as detrimental as what Newsom is trying to put off. So right now it looks like, we are being attacked as Freedom Angels because we put on this protest and we're coming back. But when is the public going to start pushing back and start asking questions? Why are our mothers and fathers and Americans being attacked and death threats just for being outside, versus someone like Newsom who's completely crippled our economy with no end in sight? There's no end in sight. He still hasn't given us a date. He said 30, maybe 60 days. How much longer can you sustain yourself?
Yeah, Governor Newsom, we're all working on, if you're listening or anyone who listening on this crew, we're going to be working on our own 6-point plan. And doesn't look anything like yours. It doesn't have mandatory tracking and tracing, and it doesn't have redesigning your COVID ADA that you want for every single school and business. It doesn't have control structures in that you're going to be able to grab emergency powers and ease it off and on like a light bulb, a dimming of a light bulb. No, none of that. I'll tell you some of the basic things it will have, besides preservation of constitutional rights. It will have real information on data that we want. People should be demanding also therapeutics. You talked about therapeutics as one of your 6 points, but there has been no actual work or effort from your office, advancing all the myriad different best practices on therapeutics to help keep people healthy, to recover them quickly, or to recover them successfully if they're get into grave conditions in the hospital. And shame on you and everyone else for that. And we also need to be making sure that people are not left isolated and alone. There's so many things that should be part of a 6-point plan that are nowhere, that are not on yours at all, that he's not put any attention on. Sorry, I'm talking directly to Newsom, but I'm really, it's shocking. And then, and then to go back, I mean, we've been saying it said it yesterday, you said it before, to go and ask people to develop a Californians for All program, to ask people to volunteer, because volunteerism in food banks is down 70%. And the elderly programs of delivering food, they need help there. Well, guess what? People are needing food and are isolated and needing help when they're elderly because of the restrictions that you put in place, the lockdown. And they're healthy you want healthy Californians to volunteer to help out on these service programs, but those same people cannot actually fix the problem by working at their jobs and then also volunteering. If that doesn't tell anybody that this is not about a virus and that our best interests are not being advanced here, then I don't know what does. This makes no sense at all.
He's not talking about therapeutics because it's not fitting the narrative. If he keeps people in fear, because right now it's, if you go outside, you're going to die. If I go outside with the mask, you are going to die. That's it. There's no other ifs, ands, or buts about it. So if he starts telling people about the successful therapeutics that we have out there, if the media didn't blow this up the way they did, it would have been just a regular flu season. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I'm not saying this virus isn't real, but what they have done was manipulated the data, manipulated the treatments. Most people don't even know that there's treatment. They don't even know that there's therapeutics. So that is shame on him for crippling the people of California in so much fear that we have our parents, we have our friends isolating themselves away from their family, and now it's causing family divide. I mean, this was the game plan from the beginning, to divide family units, and he has done it in one swift move. Newsom, it's time to open up California, and we're going to do it with or without you. So, and again, we're going to be there on the 1st. We don't need your permission to be there. And, you know,
you're basically not helping. He's not helping.
Nope.
He has not helped. Sorry, it has to go into the hands of the people because you're not doing what you should be doing. You're not showing leadership and integrity, and you're basically not helping. And so, you know, when original lockdown, before there was any data and numbers, you know, it was all about surge protection and beds and such. Well, we see that the data modeling was faulty. Thank goodness it didn't turn out the way, you know, the bad modeling was being, you know, saying it could. It's proven out that it's not even close to that now. And that there's, you know, millions have been infected and very few deaths. Instead, after beds, surge capacity and beds, we went on to ventilators. And now what, $1 billion for masks from China, instead of, you know, your own economy. I mean, it's literally, dude, you are so far off the mark on actually having talking about what's really going on and the real data, the real number, real therapeutics, real solutions that, I mean, honestly, somebody just I don't know.
We need to start talking about this. We need to start talking about the families who are losing their insurance because now they're not working. They're losing their jobs. They're having to go on Medi-Cal and welfare. We have, you know, families who are dealing with suicides because this is a huge burden to have on your family. You have no idea where your next meal is going to come. You have every single bill collector calling you, and Newsom is more, he's spending $1 billion of California's stimulus money instead of putting it back in our economy where we can recover. He wants us to be in full state communism with a surveillance state where we're not going to be able to travel. We won't be able to work. We won't be able to go to school unless we follow his plan on waiting for A, that untested vaccine to come out, B, the health checks, the health checks before you enter restaurants, the health checks before you go to work, the health checks before you go to school. How many children are going to want to go to school with a mask on their face, having their temperature taken? And how many parents are going to feel comfortable with that?
Well, and there's so many issues around the masks that we know about. So many. from, holding in bacteria and viruses to the constitutional rights and the setup it does for, having that there, from the fear to the isolation to the danger of it. So
I can't hear you.
it to me again.
Yep.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you
Barely.
hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. Just, can we get a mic check?
Can you hear me?
Okay, there, I can hear you now.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was just gonna say that, they've suspended the judicial branch of, of government right now. There's no due process. The courts aren't open. That's an important checks and balance in this system. It's a critical one. So then, we've got the administrative branch, and that's Governor Newsom and the people he's appointed, like the, the public health officer, Department of Public Health. What we need is our legislators, besides, to start pushing back as well. So that means we have to push on them. So besides working locally, we got to work with our, to push back to our legislators in the state. Right now, the Republican legislators, as a caucus, that means the entire California, Assembly and Senate, who are Republicans, have put together a letter for Governor Newsom saying, look, the numbers are showing that we can open this up and do this differently, particularly in most areas, and to get on it. So really, the Democratic legislators need to step up too and start pushing back on Governor Newsom and the administration. Because right now, all we can tell is that it's Governor Newsom and the administration, and then like the public health officers in the counties. Where is our legislature at? We know our courts we have no access to.
Yeah, no.
Which
so
again
this
is
something, right? So we have been saying this from the very beginning, the very first videos. Hyperlocal is key. But we have to be able to be flexible and wear many different hats, because not only do we have to push on our city council, public health, Office of Emergency Services, district attorney, all those places that we've been talking about, but contact your representative, especially the Democrat representative. It is time for them to start looking at the real data and start stepping up, instead of making this a political issue and falling in line like they always fall in line with each other. This is literally lives, millions of lives in California rest in the hands of these legislators and Governor Newsom right now, because everybody's too scared. We are asking you guys, we're not trying to, diminish the people who got sick. We're not trying to diminish deaths. That's absolutely not what we're doing. But if you look at what's actually happening, because I've had somebody say, why are you holding the flag upside down? That's it. What are you talking about? Governor Newsom is attempting to suspend the First Amendment. We've already had Miguel Santiago from the 53rd District in Southern California trying to suspend the Second Amendment. We have right now our 14th Amendment, our Fourth Amendment are suspended. How many different amendments do we have to go through before people start realizing this is not about a virus? It is about control. And we need, as a people, we are strong enough to do this. We are absolutely strong enough to do this as a team. So we're asking people, start stepping out of your comfort zone, start calling your reps, start emailing them, start showing up to these protests, because we need to stand up together. There's no more divide here. We need to stop, and we need to look at the bigger picture. And that bigger picture is our freedoms are at stake right now.
Yeah, this isn't political at all. It shouldn't be, but it's being made that. I mean, you hear a lot of, Governor Newsom and a lot of other governors saying, we're going to do this based on science, not on politics, when actually they're not. Like, they're literally making it a political issue, and it's a human issue. It's a human rights issue. I mean, we have the right to life, liberty, and a livelihood. I mean, honestly, to be able to participate in our own lives as sovereign beings. And we know now that, there are best practices and therapeutics to deal with the virus, and that the actions that have been taken on this lockdown and such are unjust and unconstitutional and have caused so much collateral damage that, you know, we don't know that it's a crime against humanity.
It really is. It really is. So we're not trying to sound, you know, extreme or anything, but we are in extreme times, and we have been bullied. We have been doxxed. We have, you know what I'm saying? Now we're on a national level where they're printing our names. They're linking our profiles. They are sending their people to us, and we're not going to falter. We're not going away. I mean, you know, it's very interesting in the hell? My computer just went crazy right now. Oh man, what the?
I heard that.
Anyways, it looks like we are at our 30-minute mark. Tara, do you have anything else that you want to add before we close up and start telling people how to follow?
No, I'm good.
All right, guys. So on Sunday, we're going to be in Pacific Beach at 1 o'clock to stand with Naomi. Again, she is being threatened with arrest and fines for being at a protest. On May 1st, we are going to be at the California Capitol at noon. You are free to, you know, do the social distancing, wear a mask if you want, whatever makes you feel more comfortable being there, but we're going to be there, permits or not. The governor and CHP do not have the authority to suspend the First Amendment. So you can please follow us on Telegram. We will link all that information, how to find us, because I know it's kind of hard. We're being shadow banned on everything, so it's kind of hard to find us. So we'll have all that information out for you, and we will be back on Sunday. We're going to do a special live from the protest in San Diego. So thank you, Tara, and I will talk to you guys later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. Bye. Uh-oh. We need Heidi to end this.